Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we'll be looking into a current affair topic presented to you by your faculty Sushma K. So what is the topic that we will be looking into today? Third Indian nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine to be inducted this year. In this topic, we'll be discussing as to why is it news, what is the relevance of it to your UPSC, that is the GS paper 3. We will also be looking into what is nuclear submarines, what is nuclear deterrence policy. We will see what is India's nuclear triad. We will also be looking more into your deterrence patrol. We will see the competitors, that is your China and Pakistan, their naval strength. Alright, so that is the course of the video. Let's get the video started. Look at this. The Indian Navy currently operates two SSBNs, INS Arihant and INS Arighat, while the third one, INS Aridhaman, has been undergoing trials for close to 3 years. Now, as usual, I will tell it like a story. You will listen to it like a story. Nuclear submarines. India has INS Arihant. This was the first one. Next is INS Arighat. This is the third, INS Aridhaman. This is yet in trial stage. That is, it will be deployed in the coming year into our nuclear power. Now look at this. When I say nuclear submarines, think of it like this. This is a naval vessel, which is a naval vessel which is powered by nuclear propulsion. Okay. Now this kind of nuclear submarines, in simple, it's a naval vessel which has nuclear propulsion as the fuel, which means you use uranium under your fission reaction to act for propulsion, for its movement. So, which means what? It is very fast. Yes or no? And its operational capacity is very hard. Operational capacity is very large. Yes. So, your nuclear submarines are the ones which are advanced. Now, one thing with respect to nuclear submarines is they may carry nuclear warhead, that is, your nuclear submarines may carry ballistic missiles or may not even carry those. Understanding? That is with regard to your nuclear submarines. Like that, presently we have two. The third one is yet to come. Fine? Look at this. India is planning to add construction of 3 more advanced diesel attack submarines at Mazagon dockyards in collaboration with French Naval Group. India's first SSN will join the force by 2036, followed by the second one in 2038. Now we're telling us the third one is about to come, right? The nuclear submarine, like we discussed, INS Aridhaman. Should India's improvement like this and India's involvement of the third nuclear submarine, should it scare China? Should it scare Pakistan? Now this is what people are talking about. Reality is we will see what the power, nuclear submarine power of China is, what your naval power of Pakistan is, and then we'll come to an understanding whether China and Pakistan should be afraid or should India be the one to improve. Okay. Look at this. China is having the largest naval vessels in the country, naval powers in the country. Why? Because it has 6 nuclear powered ballistic missile submarines. It has 6 nuclear powered attack subs. It has 48 conventional submarines loaded with air independent propulsion by 2030 and by 2036 and more of 2046. If you keep saying, the number is ranging from 60, it will increase to 60. Now look at this one terminology, air independent propulsion, AIP. This is an advanced technology, meaning once this is fitted a nuclear submarine, it allows the nuclear submarine to stay in the water for a longer period. When this stays in the water for a longer period, the only reason that the nuclear power submarine has to come up is only for your supplies, crew, the strength of the crew. Yeah, only for this it has to come up. Otherwise, it can stay in the water. That is, it can remain in stealth mode for a long period of time. Whereas if you see with regard to India, it does not yet, now for example in the previous one we saw we are trying to build new submarines with the help of French, where we do not have this air independent propulsion technology. So what India has decided is, once these ships comes for maintenance, then we will fit them with AIP, that is air independent propulsion, which will even increase the nuclear submarine ka power. How? Because it will be able to stay submerged in the water for a longer period of time. So China is having this much. Now let's see with regard to Pakistan. Now if you see for Pakistan, it has decided to add 30 advanced warships, which is it is going to procure from your China. It is also going to receive 8 Hangar class submarines from China with AIP, which India is lacking, and now Pakistan is to get this. Yes, why your Pakistan and India are improving and increasing its naval presence and increasing its naval might. See, your China, after it has turned your South China Sea into a warfield, it has now entered its focus on Indian Ocean, where it is trying to make Indian Ocean a battleground. Your Pakistan is having this much advanced naval vessels and trying to enter into the Indian Ocean to alter its power core, to alter its status quo, have a strong presence and domination in the Indian Ocean region. Now, compared to both China and Pakistan, if you see, India is lagging behind. Yes or no? Because ours it is going to be inducted in 2036 and then in 2038 the next one. So somewhere we are lagging behind compared to China and Pakistan, even though when we're telling we are going to be adding or deploying our third nuclear submarine. Let's see some topics regarding what is the concept of nuclear submarine. Like we discussed, nuclear submarine, a naval vessel which has nuclear propulsion. It can, that is, it may have or it may not have. One type of a nuclear submarine is your SSBN, which means ship submersible ballistic nuclear. Another thing is your SSN, submersible ship nuclear. With INS Arihant, India completed its nuclear triad, where your INS Arihant also completed your deployment of deterrence patrol, and also this aligns with our nuclear policies or our nuclear doctrine. Now listen to this. INS Arihant is our first nuclear submarine. Fine. Initially we never used to have nuclear submarines. The countries which actually had nuclear submarines was your USA. First was your USA. Following that, Russia also came up with it. Then your UK, France, then is your China. So this is the elite list of countries which have nuclear submarine capabilities. India started out with the concept of nuclear submarines in somewhere around 1987 when it leased your USSR ka nuclear submarine. From there it started. After your indigenously we bought in your, that is India's own INS Arihant. When INS Arihant completed its deterrence patrol, we entered into the successful completion of our nuclear trial. Now the question is, what is this deterrence patrol? Which means this submarine, okay, our INS Arihant, equipped with ballistic missiles. Understand this is our INS Arihant. I can't draw better pictures. Understand this is INS Arihant. Now this had your ballistic missile in it, and it kept navigating, that it kept on sailing throughout the country with the ballistic missiles fit in it. This is a reason what we are deterring. That is, it is a meaning telling that I am a nuclear powered country, I have a nuclear submarine, I also have a ballistic missile capability, that in case if you strike any enemy country or any country which wants to strike first to India, beware if you even think about striking me first, because I have very high successful rate of second strike back, and my second strike back will be within few minutes. I will strike back you within few minutes, so you have to be very careful if you have to do any messing with India with regard to nuclear power. This is your deterrence patrol. When INS Arihant completed this, we successfully entered nuclear triad. What is nuclear triad? That is India's capability to launch nuclear power from land, from air, from water. Understanding? This is nuclear triad. Look at this, like I mentioned, the world's first nuclear submarine was somewhere around your 1950s with your USS Nautilus. India started its nuclear submarine journey with Charlie 1, where it leased this from USSR. Okay. Now look at this, India's nuclear triad: from land, air, water. All of these have the ability to launch nuclear power. Like we discussed, once INS Arihant completed the deterrence patrol, we just discussed what it is, we entered into nuclear triad. Now, main important thing you have to understand, if India keeps on doing things like this, then again we are not a signatory to your nuclear suppliers group, we are not part of your non-proliferation treaty, etc. So other member countries will not keep quiet. And the two the member countries are very elite ones: USA, UK, China, Russia, France. So we also came up with a nuclear doctrine, wherein we are a nuclear power country. But how is it that we will use this nuclear power? First thing is, India's nuclear doctrine says that we will have a credible minimum deterrence, enough to support ourselves if in case we are striked. Meaning, no first use policy. First and foremost, we will not be the first one to engage in this conflict with regard to nuclear power. We will not launch any nuclear attacks first. But once we are attacked, we will retaliate. And this retaliation will be maximum damage. And we will not use nuclear power on any non-nuclear states. Understanding? Another thing is, the one who has the authorization to launch nuclear attacks will be only from civilian elected leader, which means political leader, which means only the government, which means only the people elected representative can authorize for launch of nuclear attack and not military. Understanding? And look at this last link. After all this we tell, and we also tell this, India is committed to the goal of nuclear weapons free world. Verifiable and non discriminatory disarmament. Understanding? So after all this, we tell that yes, we are wanting global peace. We are nuclear powered country, but we will not use it for in the first instance. We will only use it as a retaliatory measure, and we will not use it against any non-nuclear members. Thus, we are trying to maintain global peace and security. We have this power to be on terms with all the other countries, superpowers having this, but at the same point of time, we also have this principle. So this shows our balanced approach. We've reached the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and share it along with your friends. Thank you.